three different topics which are all interconnected. In my first interaction, I spoke to you about teams and team building process. Followed by that, we discussed about leadership. Then yesterday, I made an attempt to brief you about emotional intelligence. At the end, I told you if there are any questions about it, anything to get clarified, you can feel free to ask questions. Because as teachers, we need to understand people around us in different capacities. It may be our colleagues, it may be our administrators, policymakers, the general public, and the students. Because the society expects a lot, a matured behavior, a matured approach to problem solving of all types from the teacher. The moment you introduce yourself as a teacher or a professor, people and their expectations are going to be different. Therefore, managing emotions and managing people is the biggest challenge. We may not be having that authority. Without using much authority, how to win the loyalty of others, how to make others to look at us for examples. That should be the skill of a teacher. Keeping that in mind, I thought the first three topics might have given you some inputs about these issues, leadership, emotional intelligence, and things like that. Today, I will be taking you towards one more important topic, that is a very interesting topic also, which we encounter every day, that is conflict and conflict resolutions. Conflicts and conflict resolution can be applied in our day-to-day life, in every facet of life, as there used to be conflicts everywhere, whether we like it or not. You will be knowing, if two persons are living together for a long time, at least once in their lifetime, they must have a conflict. If somebody say that, no, we never had a conflict, that is an indication that they are lying, or otherwise, either of them is not alive. Can you follow me? If two persons are living active, hearing, seeing, and experiencing, everything is possible. If two persons are living together for a long time, at one point or the other, different will crop in. The differences of opinion, if they are not properly managed, may turn out to be misunderstanding. Misunderstanding may lead to quarrel. Quarrel may end up with a violent reactions from each other. That's the reason there is a popular saying, wars are not fought between two countries. Wars are not fought between two countries. They are between two minds. If these two minds are managed properly, then there cannot be war at all. But I and you, as teachers, every day need to interact with the young minds, and these young minds have to be tuned to get prepared to get into the real world situation, wherein there will be all sorts of people, and with everybody you need not have to agree. You need not have to compromise in front of everybody. But what best you can do is, you can politely agree to disagree and politely accept the uniqueness of others. Every individual is different. Everyone has the right to be different from their angle. But we cannot expect everybody to think in the same way that I think by force. There is a popular saying, you cannot make people to follow you by putting handcuffs. By putting handcuffs, by making rules and regulation, by threatening them, you cannot make people to follow you all the time. But you can make them to follow you by putting heart cups. How to put heart cup? Putting heart cup, calls for emotional bondage, understanding the other person, making him to first accept us as either a friend, a philosopher, a guide, a relative, a elder, something like that. Then only they will follow us. Therefore, here, every day in and day out, it could be with students, friends, relatives, or anybody around us at one point. And I tell you at this point only, there is no reason to believe that difference of opinion arises always between two individuals. Sometimes this difference of opinion may crop up in one mind itself. In an individual's mind itself, there can be two different viewpoints. All the time, there will be a war in our mind between do and don't do, yes and no, okay, accept or reject. Life is full of dilemma and contradictions. If these dilemmas and contradictions are not sorted out properly, that will lead to bigger problems later on. Therefore, as we are all okay, we are all concerned with dealing with people, as wherever there are people, conflicts bound to take place. I thought this is also an appropriate topic for you for discussion. I will make my simple presentation before you. If there are any queries, as and when the question comes to your mind, you can react to me, or otherwise we can have discussion as usual. First, I will try to share my PPTs with you. If you can see and hear properly, please accept this. Can you see this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Shatisha, please mute your mic. Dr. Shatisha, please mute your mic, sir.
Okay, can you see it?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
We
sir.
can see.
Okay. One second, something is missing here. Okay, look at this picture. You can easily point out what it is, right? You can easily understand what is this picture is all about. Look at the second one. Can you give a caption for this picture?
Disagreement, sir.
Okay, go further. Anything more?
No communication.
No?
Egoistic minds.
No communication.
Depression from between two persons.
Okay.
Non-cooperation.
No cooperation. Then
Disconnected.
disconnecting. Then
Hearts apart.
okay. Anything more? See here, by looking at the picture itself, you come to the conclusion that everything is not okay there. Something is disconnected, something is disagreeable, and they are not in good terms. At least at this point of time, there must be something with which both of them are not agreeing. Am I right? In our day-to-day life, there will be hundreds of such situations wherein they may not agree with everybody. And there is no rule that all the time everybody must agree. If everybody agree with the other person, there will be no scope for, what shall I say, dynamism, activities, creativity, originality, and things like that. Differences of opinions bound to take place. Only when there is a difference, there will be scope for thinking differently. Only when there are obstacles, there will be scope for reflections. If there are no obstacles, reflections will not come. Unless there is a reflection, you cannot understand what it is. But too much of objections, too much of oppositions, too much of disturbances makes anybody to be disturbed, and it will hamper productivity, efficiency, and effectiveness. Because you will be knowing, in most of the companies, the CEOs spend 60% of their working time for solving problems related to differences of opinion only. Even in our life, we concentrate a considerable part of our livelihood or timings towards solving the crisis, solving the problem, because understanding the other person and making the other person to be with us itself calls for a considerable effort and time. Therefore, if you don't consider the views of others seriously, at a later date, that may affect our very existence, or otherwise it will spoil the working environment. As teachers, we must create a conducive environment in the classroom, a conducive environment in the college, campus, a conducive environment in the society. Even the society looks at the teachers as their role models, Even the society expects the teachers to be socially sensitive. Many a time, what the advice teachers gives in a community, in a village, will be accepted with great respect. Same is the case in a group, in a team. When there are two persons, naturally, difference of opinion will come. Unless it is sorted out at the beginning itself, it will become a big war later on. So that wars can be avoided by understanding the mind. Okay, therefore, first of all, we must understand why it happens, what are the reasons for this misunderstanding or conflicts between groups, what are conflicts, and how to handle them. That is going to be the content and the agenda for today's discussion. If you have anything to ask, you can ask later on. Okay, in between, you can pose me questions. Can you see the slides? Is it 100% visible to you all? Okay, please.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Please. Conflict is a process in which one person perceives that his or her interest is opposed or negatively affected by others. Conflict is a situation wherein where there are minimum two individuals. Out of these two individuals, one of them thinks that the other person is opposing, other person is negatively affecting him. So that this is a situation wherein there is a difference of opinion, there is a difference in understanding, there is a negativity in affecting by the other persons. If somebody is affecting us positively, helping us, we don't object. The question of objecting arises only when the other person is negatively impacting on us. So how to understand that there is a conflict in a group, in an organization, in a family also? Say for instance, if everything goes smooth in a family, there will not be a problem at all. When there is no problem at all, we call it 63 type of families. 63 type of family means both husband and wife looking at each other, mutually helping, mutually understanding. And the opposite of that, 36. 36 type of situation is one where both of them thinking in different direction, thinking in different objectives, intentions, ideologies, that leads to conflict. Man, though man is the same, men are different. I have been repeatedly telling. You cannot expect two persons to be identical, 100% similar in their thinking, in their ability to understand the world. Everybody looks at the same thing from their own viewpoint. As a result, there will be difference of opinion. If it is made known to us, we can sort it out. If it is silent, as a hidden fire, it will burn the system and the system will get collapsed. Therefore, there is a need to understand whether there is a conflict or not. Hence, we must know the indicators or the symptoms of conflicts. How to know that there is problem, there is something wrong with the group or the system. By looking at the picture where two persons are sitting in two different directions, you came to the conclusion that everything is not okay. Likewise, what are the symptoms of conflicts? I will read out one by one. First one is poor communication. If there is a conflict, people will not speak to each other. They don't listen to the other person. As a result, you can say there will be poor communication. They are not in talking terms. Another symptom is there will be poor intergroup activities. Poor intergroup activity means people work very hard, but they don't like to work with somebody. They say, even if you give a group assignments to your students may say that, sir, give me individual assignment. I don't like to work with them. I don't feel comfortable with them. It could be because of various reasons. Where there is no proper group activities, it is an indication that they are not meeting each other. They are not happy with each other. One more symptom is where there is conflict, there will be a high rate of absenteeism and turnover. You can understand what is absenteeism. Absenteeism is a chronic behavior of abstaining from the working place or from the class itself. Why our students are not attending our classes, there may be several reasons for that. One such reason is their inability to understand, their inability to adjust with the situation, their inability to match with the timings, their inability to match with the environment. Okay, therefore, absenteeism means abstaining from the working place. Even in factories, employees may not go to the working place because they may be unhappy with the boss. They may be unhappy with the rate of wages they are getting. They may be unhappy with the colleagues. If you are not happy with your colleagues, you feel like staying at home, not to see their faces. I think I am right. Do you agree with me? And I turnover. Turnover means, in HR terms, turnover means it is the ratio between number of people joining and number of people leaving the group or the organization. How many people have joined? How many people have left? Okay. All the time you may say that I have only new friends with me. All my old friends have left. That means the turnover of friendship is more. When many number of people are becoming friends and get away from you, and the number increases, is an indication that you are not happy with anybody, and they are not happy with you also. And one more thing, the symptom of conflict in a group or in an organization, in a family, you can identify with the type, with the issues discussed over there. In a conflicting situation, there will be promotion of untargeted issues. Untargeted issues. If everything is okay, people will not worry. Say, for instance, in a system, in an organization, let it be your office or a college, where for everything, people start talking about unwanted, unrelated issues. Just imagine on a particular day, a person is absent to his job. Maybe because of his health reasons, he may be absent to his job. When the other person notices that he is absent there, he may start talking. Or he has not come to the job because he might have gone to somewhere else. And he might have gone for a movie. He might have gone for a tour. He might have gone with somebody. Such type of untargeted issues will be promoted in the working place if there is a conflict. And one more feature that you can understand is where there is conflict, normally people form informal groups. Informal groups will be formed to promote untargeted, unwanted issues. That itself will become a problem later on. Informal gathering means official issues will be forgotten. The non-official issues will be discussed in an informal setting, meeting after the meeting, gathering after the working hours. All these things indicate there is something wrong. Next is disrespect and indiscipline. When there is too much of disrespect and indiscipline shown towards anybody or any system, that is an indication that there is a conflict. And one more thing, antagonizing and negative feeling. Antagonizing means whatever you say as a teacher, as a boss, as an elder, as a parent in the family, disrespect, not respecting your words. And indiscipline, needless to explain what is indiscipline, discipline will get importance only because of indiscipline. If everything is discipline, there is no need of control. But indiscipline is an indicator of conflict, disagreeingness, unhappiness with something. Followed by that, strict implementation of rules and regulations. Where there is a conflict, normally people think of rules and regulations. If the human relations are good, there is no need of going for rules and regulations. A memo or a circular or a written order will be given only when there is no proper human understanding. There is no proper relationship, respect for each other. Then only we have to go for written statements for everything. Even the boss, look at your principal, look at your HOD, head of the department. When everything is mutually happening, there is no need of talking about a memo or a notice, something like that. It happens only when there is a misunderstanding. So that if too many circulars, too many memos are circulating in a system, that's an indication everything is not fair. Followed by that, non-productive discussion. Non-productive discussion. Antagonizing and negative feeling makes people always to oppose what the boss says, what the leader says. In the classroom, you are the leader. Just imagine you want to engage a special class. If people are happy, if your students are happy, they will say, okay, sir. Those who are not happy, those who want to avoid it, will normally start speaking negatively about it. And that type of people will engage in non-productive discussions. In a conflicting environment, there will be discussions which are not relevant for anybody. These are all the symptoms of conflict. Still, I have to tell you, what are conflicts? What are conflicts? Conflict, I told you conflict will be everywhere, irrespective of the size of the organization. The moment there is 1 plus 1, starting from a family, up to a nation or internationally also, you will be knowing wherever there are people, there will be conflicts. There will be conflicts. Why these conflicts? Okay, 1 second. Conflict, what are these conflicts? How can I define this conflict? Conflict is an integral part of organizational life. Organizational life means, 1 second. Okay. Please bear with me. Some disturbance, software disturbance here. Conflict is an integral part of organizational life. Organizational life starts with a family. 1 plus 1 makes an organization. It can be between two friends. It can be between husband and wife. It can be between students and teachers, boss and the subordinates, government and the subject, citizens. It can happen between anybody in the organizational life. Normally, it occurs because of the reasons why it occurs, why people quarrel. Is there any reason for quarreling? It occurs because of perceived or experienced differences over substantiative or emotional issues. Conflict occurs normally because of perceived. Perceived means understood, as you understood. Experienced means has it happened to you? It can be because of your understanding or experience of the real, substantiative means real, or emotional issues. It is because of the emotional or substantiative issues, as I understand, I may have a difference with the other person. If there is no difference, no conflict. Conflict arises only when there is a difference. In our day-to-day life, there will be hundreds of reasons for having conflicts. On the other day, I was telling about emotions and other things. For everything, there is a tutorial. For everything, we can go for training. Anger management is one of the most important courses in most of the Western countries. Corporate sector people organize for their employees. Management of emotions, management of anger. Likewise, there are a lot many things that need to be managed and understood. But issues like greed, issues like anxiety, issues like negativity need not be taught to anybody. It will come on its own. Once it had happened, I'm telling you a brief story, an incident for about 1 or 2 minutes. Please listen to me. The story runs like this. It is a Gurukula. Can you understand what is a Gurukula? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes, sir.
What is a Gurukula? A Gurukula is, in the modern words I can say, a residential school in the middle of the forest. In a Gurukula, a group of students went to their teacher and said, "Sir, you told us that you taught us everything relevant for life. You told us that you have covered everything that is essential for our life, both in art and music, life science, war related, everything you said you have taught to us. But yesterday, we had been to the nearby town. In that town, we saw a performance. It was an excellent performance, which you have never taught to us in the class." The Guru got surprised. What could be that? What is that? They said, "Sir, we don't know what it was, but it's a wonderful performance. You never mentioned about it in the class. What is that? Show me where it is." The student said, "Sir, tomorrow morning, once again we are going to the nearby town. We will take you with us. Please come with us." The Guru went with the students. The students were moving from one street to another, searching for that incident. At one point, they said, "Sir, stop. This is the performance that what we said yesterday." What is that performance? That performance is a quarrel between two neighbors. Neighbors are quarreling on a small issue between each other, and you will be knowing at the time of quarreling, the language people use, the expressions and accuracy in usage, along with the body language. Can you follow me? The Guru looked at it and said, "Yes, it was not in my syllabus. That's the reason I haven't taught you. But it is true that it's a part of life." He took them back to Gurukula. And said, "Today I will be teaching you what you saw in the nearby town. What you saw there that I am teaching you today." He called two persons, two students of his. He took the first person towards a big stone. There was a big stone. The Guru asked, "You go and stand up on the stone. You go and stand up on the stone." Second one, "You come here." When he is standing on the stone, you go and ask him to get down. First one, when the second person asks you to get down, you don't get down, but ask him, "Why should I get down? Is it yours?" You ask such question and try to answer the questions of each other immediately, without lapse of time. Then this performance will naturally emerge. As suggested by the teacher, one student went and stood up on the stone. Other student came and asked, "Hey, get down." The first student said, no, I will not get down. Second one said, get down. First one said, is it yours? Second person said, yes, it is mine. Immediately, the person who is standing on the stone said, sorry, I didn't know. He got down. Hope you got the story. The guru was under the impression that by doing this, he can make these people to quarrel each other. He thought that there will be a difference of opinion between these students over that issue that leads to a conflict, but such a thing had not happened. Why it was so? Why a quarrel has not happened there? Can you answer me this question? I think you got the story.
Because of healthy environment,
Because of?
healthy environmental in Gurukula.
Because of the healthy environment in the Gurukula. They were not taught like that.
Because they believe each other.
They believe each other. Okay.
Both are friends, sir.
They are both are friends, you know. That's the reason. Any more thing?
Because what?
Conflict resolution happened, na, sir.
There the conflict itself has not happened. How is the resolution? Resolution means solving the conflict. Conflict itself has not happened. They did not quarrel. Guru wanted them to quarrel, but they did not. Do you know why people quarrel?
They're very much.
Do you know why people
They're very much committed.
committed for what?
That the mental situation, what makes us to conflict was not present in them because they were taught with the values. What the Guru said that it is not in my syllabus, but what were in his syllabus, he has taught them, and the mental map was prepared in that way that conflict didn't happen.
But today the Guru wanted them to have a practical conflict. It is like a laboratory. He took them to the place and made them to say, this is mine, this is not yours, something like that. It has not happened. Why it has not happened, you know? I tell you precisely. You can say one more thing. Normally students will not listen to teachers, you know. As the teacher said do it, they may not have been doing that. It's a casual answer that I am giving. But the reality is that for anybody to quarrel and oppose somebody, there must be a strong reason which is called insurable interest. When something negatively happens to our insurable interest, then only we will quarrel. If there is a road accident, a vehicle hits somebody and somebody has fall down, we don't take it seriously because both the vehicle and the person who fell down, both are not of ours. Am I reaching? We worry only when it is related to us. Anything that is related to us must have an insurable interest. What do we insure? We insure our life, we insure the life of our relatives, friends, etc. We insure my property, not the property of others. Therefore, when it comes to the stone, you know, that stone has no emotional attachment to anybody. If it was told that for the first person, this stone belongs to your great-grandfather, am I reaching? This stone was your great-grandfather's, don't allow it to be taken by anybody, you would have protected that. Agree? Therefore, normally conflicts will happen only when there is a sort of insurable interest for the people. And if the absence of insurable interest is there, then nobody will accept it. Nobody will indulge in any conflict or misunderstanding at all. What makes us to be unhappy? When it hurts us, when it troubles us. Yesterday, just recall yesterday I asked a question. Why do you think you are fit to be a teacher? Can you recall that question? Yesterday,
Yes, sir.
if I say one thing, I don't know how do you react. If I make a comment, none of you are fit to be teachers. What do you say? How do you think? Are you happy?
Yes, it will hurt our ego, sir, and then the conflict will begin.
Excuse me for saying this. My intention was to make you think aggressively. When somebody insults us, humiliates us, negatively comment on us, that makes us to develop disagreements. Right? If it is about, say for instance, most of our ministers are unfit to become ministers, you will be happy to know this. Agree? If I say none of our students are interested in learning, you agree with this. If I say none of our teachers are agreeing to teach, you don't agree. I think I am right in my saying. Am I? Right? Therefore, conflicts are everywhere, and conflicts will be the reason for the conflicts, why conflicts happen? What are the reasons for conflicts? Let us go to the next slide. You look at this and tell me why conflicts happens. They are asking a question, why should we quarrel? Same thing with the students in the Gurukula. Look at these two pets. They are sitting with each other happily. Why should we quarrel? Why can they quarrel, We must find out the reasons, the causes of conflicts, why people quarrel, why there is a misunderstanding, what makes people to have misunderstanding amongst themselves. I will just read out once again the reasons for conflict or the causes of conflict. First one is incompatible goals. Incompatible goals means the goals that I am setting and you are expecting from me are not matching. Okay, I want so much to be done, but you are not capable or not willing to do, hence there is a conflict. And one more thing, the cause of conflict is interdependence. Interdependence. If there is too much of dependency on the other person, that leads to conflict. Can you follow me? If there is too much of dependency, you don't quarrel with strangers, Your quarrel is normally with someone with whom you are connected. You are related. You like or dislike your students. Most of the time, disliking of our own students, disliking of our own people. Difference of opinion comes between only those people who are interconnected and interdependent. If there is too much of dependency, too many chances of conflicts. Followed by that, why conflict, Scarce resources. Limited resources, but there are too many people to be used to use it. I don't like to share it with somebody. That's the reason we quarrel. I think I'm right in my saying. Limited resources. Followed by that, the reason for conflict is goal and role ambiguity. Goal and role ambiguity. Role means your position. Goal means what is to be achieved. Say, for instance, till recently, all the parents used to teach their children not to use the mobile phone. When the child is looking at the mobile phone, parents used to go and shout at them, not to touch my phone, don't use that phone, something like that. That was the role of a parent from keeping the children away from the gadgets. But today, the goal is to make my child to learn through online. That leads to ambiguity. Even in mind itself, it leads to a conflict, a sort of unrest, difference of opinion. 6 months back, I was blaming my son about using too much of mobile phone. Today, if he is looking at the phone, I can't say anything because the goal is to make him to learn. My role as a parent is to teach him not to use the gadget carelessly or all the time. Just like that, you are all young teachers now. You are all young teachers. When you are seniors in the college or the university, your head of the department or the principal in the working place advises you something. Say, for instance, when you are late, if they say, why are you late? You take it negatively. You may feel offended. All the time he questions me, why I am late, why I am late. Assume that after a few years, you will become the head of the department. You will become the principal of the college. At that point, you speak about punctuality, time. Am I reaching? That leads to conflict. Till yesterday, you are an ordinary teacher. You are opposing your principal for asking you to come in time. Today, you are the principal. You ask your colleagues to come in time. Your colleagues will make a comment. Till yesterday, he was normal. Today only he become head and principal of the department. So already started using power. That leads to conflict and quarrel. I think I'm reaching. Followed by that, why conflict happens, it is because of the personality clashes. No two persons are identical. My personality is unique, and you are all, each one of you is special, I believe me. Each one of you are special. One may be honest, one may be dishonest, one may be active, one may be sober. When two different individuals of different personalities encounter, which are opposite in nature, that leads to conflict. Say for instance, one is honest, other one is corrupt. One is lazy, other one is active. Each of them cannot go together. That makes them to have differences of opinion. Followed by that, differences in values. Value means strong belief. If there is difference in our value system, what I believe is not matching with the other person's belief. As a result, we cannot be friends. Am I reaching? Followed by that, perception. Perception. Perception is the most important thing that makes people to develop unnecessary hatredness, love, or otherwise. For all emotions, perception matters a lot. What is perception? Can anybody comment on this? My question to you is, what is perception?
Understanding in my point of view.
Yes. Any more things? Perception is the process of interpreting the environment around me. It is a process of interpreting. In simple words, you can say it is the way in which you understand it. Okay. Say for instance, on the full moon day, when you look at the full moon, what comes to your mind? It is a full moon day. Look at the sky. A full moon. What feelings will come to your mind? Have you ever looked at the full moon?
Yes.
On the surface of the moon, have you seen any picture?
Yes, sir.
What are the pictures you have seen?
It will look like Karnataka. Sometimes it looks like a mother holding a baby.
Mother holding a baby in Karnataka. Then?
Depends on
Sometimes
our
looks like a
perspective.
deer.
Look like a deer. Wonderful.
Look like a rabbit.
Look like a rabbit. If I allow everybody to answer, everyone can say something because it is true that it appears like that only. Everyone has a reason to believe that it looks like a tree, it looks like a deer, it looks like Karnataka map, it looks like something. Somebody say it looks like Mother Teresa. Somebody can say it looks like Mahatma Gandhi. Because moon is the inspiration for imaginations. Almost every writer, irrespective of the language and the country they belongs to, got inspiration from the moon. For a poet, moon is the powerful inspiration. I'm sure there are some literature teachers. Look at the moon on the full moon day. That itself gives inspiration. And normally moon makes people to imagine whatever picture they like, If they want, they can see the face of their beloved one. Their beloved. It could be anybody. Beloved means not necessarily the girlfriend, boyfriend, something like that. It could be the father, mother, teacher. Anybody you can see there. If you are if you have the poetic mind. Just imagine you are a hungry man without food for 3-4 days. If I ask you to look at the moon and describe the moon, what comes to your mind? Normally people say, when an angry man looks at the moon, that makes him to remember a burnt out chapati, a burnt out roti, it looks like a burnt out roti. So that world is the same. It appears to be beautiful to somebody, ugly to somebody. It is our perception that leads to our understanding. If two persons are talking about something, a suspicious man will think they are talking about me only. If they smile and laugh, they think, oh, they are laughing by looking at me only. Am I right? If they make a finger out, they will think, oh, he's showing towards me only. A suspicious mind will make always to think like that. That is what perception. And many a time, conflict arises because of communication problems. You may be good, but you don't know how to express your good feelings. That leads to misunderstanding. Communication problem is the biggest reason for conflict. About 60% of the conflicts happens because of communication itself. Make good communication. Good communication is the need of the hour for solving almost all types of problems that we have in our day-to-day life. Because many a time, it could be not necessarily because of language. Sometimes there is a best way to tell people to accept our criticisms also. Nobody likes no, everybody expects a yes. But there is a saying in English, how to say a painless no. How to say a painless no. Even if you are telling no to somebody, even if you are criticizing somebody, that criticism must be polite. That criticism must be acceptable to the other person whom you are criticizing. That should be the style of communication. If the communication is not proper, that leads to disturbance. That leads to conflict. Followed by that, why conflict happens, lack of trust. When I don't believe somebody, all the time I think opposite to what they say. All the time I suspect their doings. That leads to conflict. Okay, these are all the simple reasons for misunderstanding, disputes, conflicts, quarrel between two individuals at any point of time. It can be in the organization, family, classroom, even in the society, you can relate it. I will just run through the types of conflicts. There are 4 types of conflicts that you can look into. 4 or 5 types of conflicts I have listed. Structural conflicts, intrapersonal conflicts, interpersonal conflicts, intergroup conflicts, intra-group conflicts. Structural conflicts means the reason for the conflicts are because of the system. It is not because of the individuals. It is because of the system, the situation. Say for instance, it could be because of the functions that you are supposed to do. Say for instance, it is your function to teach, whether somebody likes it or not. When you go for teaching, those who don't like your teaching will develop conflicts about you. It is your function. A police officer have to stop somebody who is not wearing a helmet. Am I reaching? But those who are not having the helmet, dislike the policeman. Because it is his duty. It is our function that makes us to have conflict. It is the goals that you are supposed to achieve. It is your authority. It is your status. It is your time and other resources that makes you to have conflict. Such conflicts are called structural conflicts. Intrapersonal conflicts. Normally, I have been talking to you about conflicts between two individuals. We have seen two individuals quarreling each other. When the conflict is between two different individuals and personalities, that can be called interpersonal conflict. Interpersonal means between two individuals. But all the time, we need not worry about interpersonal conflicts. It can be easily solved. There is one more type of conflict that is called intrapersonal conflict. That is conflict within myself, conflict in the same mind. An individual thinking in two different directions or more than two different directions. Yesterday, I made a mention about psychological problems. Presently, more than 40% of the people are suffering from one or the other psychological disorder. This COVID-19, since last 7-8 months, made all of us to get locked from different dimensions. That has resulted in increased cases of bipolar disorder, personality disorder, bipolar personality disorder. It's a disorder wherein the same individual have a conflicting between two ends, whether to do or not to do, go or not to go, talk or not to talk. When such a dilemma arises, that dilemma leads to psychological depression, anxiety, tension, frustration, stress that may end up with physical disorders like high BP. Am I reaching? Heart-related disorders. All these problems are related to intrapersonal conflict. This intrapersonal conflict must be sorted out as early as possible. As early as possible. Otherwise, that will hamper the health of an individual. Followed by that, intergroup conflict. Intergroup conflict means conflict between two groups, two political parties, two families, two countries, two teams can have conflict. This is intergroup conflict. The next one is intra-group conflict. You can easily understand. Intra-group conflict means conflict within a group. Members of the same party, members of the same family, members of the same class, members of the same team having conflicts. That is called intra-group conflict. Why it happens? Why it happens? I made a mention, the most prominent reason for conflict between two individuals is their mindset. Mindset in simple words can be called ego status. Am I right? Ego status. Most of the time, conflict arises because of the ego status of the individual. The individual's ego status can be divided into three types. I'm making it very simple. Three types. They are the child ego status, adult ego status, and the parent ego status. We call it child ego, adult ego, and parent ego. Each one of us are having these three levels of mindset. Each one of us have this mindset, and when we are dominated by any one of this mindset, that influences our behavior to a greater extent. I must tell you precisely what we mean by child ego state. Anybody who is having a child ego state of action, when it is active, that ego is active, that person will become dependent on others, spontaneous, curious, creative, rebel, frustrated, clumsy, pleasure seeking. You will be understanding, you can easily understand what is a child ego. A child is an immature personality. Normally, they don't want responsibility. Always they want to have fun, laughing, careless. They want somebody to help all the time. They are complaining individuals. All the time, look at somebody for protection. That is child ego. Adult ego is one where the person behaves with maturity, rationality. He is not emotional. He is not dependent on anybody. But he thinks all problems can be solved by me. He is an independent thinker. That's why we call him adult. The third type of ego is parent ego, wherein the person thinks, I am big, I am the savior, I am the protector, I am grown up, I must control others, I must advise others, I must instruct others, I must make others to follow me. Parent always try to control others. Child will listen to the parent, but adult, when the parent advises, adult will think, I know what to do, what not to do. Am I reaching? Conflict occurs when people with a different ego status encounter each other. You as a teacher have the parental ego. You as a teacher have the parental ego. You speak to your students, you advise them, you suggest them. If your student look at you with a child ego, they love you and obey your orders. Am I reaching? If they behave as an adult, think that I know what to do, what not to do, why do you advise me? That leads to conflict. Therefore, it affects our communication system. I'll tell you precisely. You can see on the slide, open communication and cross communication. Open communication is one where a parent speaks to the child and child speaks to the parent. A and B are two persons. Just imagine A and B are two persons. A speaks as a parent, B reacts as a child, no problem. I suggest something to my student. With all respect, my student accepts it. No problem. No conflict will happen. Cross communication is one where you speak as a parent, but the other person reacts to you as an adult. That is called cross communication. See here, parent to child, no problem. Adult to adult, no problem. Child to child, no problem. But when it is crossed, adult to child, adult think independent, child thinks dependent. Say for instance, how communication leads to conflict, you know. Just imagine, what's the time now? Somebody asks you the question, what's the time now? When somebody asks, what is the time now? What will you do? You look at your watch and say, the time. I don't tell you the time because I'm running short of time. If you tell the time, there ends the problem. When somebody asks you the question, what is the time? If you say, why should I tell you the time? Do you think I'm your servant to look at the time and tell you? If the other person say, you have a watch, you know, it is my watch. Your watch? Have you sponsored a watch for me? That is. If somebody says, I'm afraid of walking in the dark nights, he's a child. If the other person says, what type of person you are, not able to walk in dark alone, you are unfit to call it as a grown-up. Insights. When somebody says, I am afraid of walking in the dark night, if the other person says, yes, in the dark nights there will be devils, you know, both of them will become friends. Am I reaching? When somebody abuses your boss, if you say, boss is right, the other person becomes your enemy. If you say, oh, you always do it for everybody, both of you become friends. That is how conflict happens in the organization. And many a time, there are psychological reasons because of the ego status of individual that leads to conflict. And one more reason for conflict in life is, it is called life positions. I'm making very fast. What is life positions? Life position means your mental assumption of yourself and that of others. There are four types of assumptions that we can make about ourselves and the society. They are, I make it very quick. I am okay, you are not okay. One mindset. Always thinking that I am always right, others are wrong. I am not okay, you are okay. I am not okay, you are okay. This is an obedient, accepting situation. I am not okay, you are not okay. This is a frustrated version. Both of us are not right. Okay, can you follow me? You can say that we are not following you and you are also not following us. Okay, therefore, fourth one is, I am okay, you are okay. Thinking positively about both. I am also okay, you are also okay. When you say, I am also okay, you are also okay, no conflict. When you say, I am not okay, you are not okay, no conflict. When you say, I am okay, you are not okay, that is conflicting situation. But this conflict has to be sorted out. That is the topic given to me. How to sort out the conflict? Can we sort out a conflict by putting a stone wall in between? No, it will further aggravate the conflict. If you put a break, if you put a wall between two persons who are quarreling, they will never become friends, they will become enemies, and they build their own armies to fight later on. Conflicts must be sorted out as and when they emerge. How to sort out? How conflicts can be addressed? You cannot run away from the conflict as a teacher. All teachers are leaders, I said on the other day. You are all leaders. When somebody is having a conflict, comes to you either for suggestion or for solution, you have to understand that conflicts are everywhere. It could be because of somebody who is creating that problem. Identify who is that problem. Everyone is a problem to somebody, sometime, somehow, somewhere. You may think the other person is the problem to you, and the other person think you are the problem to him. Agree? Therefore, understand that problem. There are different types of people. I will just give a glance of few types of people that we encounter in our day-to-day life that leads to psychological, emotional disturbance, but we are supposed to live with them. How to deal with these difficult people? One type of person that I am telling is a hostile, aggressive person. There may be hostile, aggressive person in your environment. Normally, what these people will do, they always attack you. They speak ill of you. They are hostile. You have to manage them. How to manage this type of people? It can be your student. It can be your subordinate. It can be, your boss or relatives somewhere. They are always aggressive, shouts at you. They are always hostile, makes you to feel uncomfortable. There, you have to stand up for yourself. Stand up for yourself means, if you are right, if you think you are correct, you are in the right way, make yourself clear, your idea clear. Give them time to turn down. Give them an opportunity to listen to you and come out of their aggression. Use self-assertive language. Avoid direct confrontation. Don't go for physical handling or something like that. Use a language that I know how to deal with this. Assertive language will help you to get out of that type of people. There is one more type of people who create problem in the organization. Organizations in any environment. They are negative people. They always say no for everything. Negative. These negative people must be made positive by negotiation. Discuss with them. Tell them that don't look at always negative point. There are some positive issues also. Highlight the positive factors for them and make them to say an yes. All the time they say no, no, no. Make them to say yes by impressing on that. There is one more category of people, we call them complainers. Complainers are the people, do anything, they make comments. Whether it is right or wrong, they always keep complaints. Listen to their complaints carefully, acknowledge their feelings, avoid complaining with anybody, with them, tell the truth at the end without apology. Can you follow me? If you cannot follow me, tell me openly. The other type of people are called clams. Clams, clams act like jokers. They are the people all the time, however serious you are, they make fun. They make fun of everything. When such people are doing fun and don't listen to your comments, you take appropriate stand to make them serious by asking open-ended questions. If you are in my position, how would I have been reacted for this situation? Be patient and wait for the response. If there is no response from their side, if they take everything casually, tell your opinion, make them to be with you. One more type of people are there. With this type of people, you don't find conflicts at all. They are called super agreeables. Super agreeables are those people who accept everything that you say without questioning. Even that's not a good thing, Before you say, okay, you do it, you do it, you do it. Super agreeables must also be handled properly. The negative people, I made a mention, they don't allow you to do. Opposite of this are the super people. There is one more category whom we call it bulldozer. They are the people who think they know everything. They act as the genius. They think they are the big. That type of people will also create problems in the working environment. And balloons are people who always come to appreciate you, whether you deserve it or not. They try to please you. Am I reaching? Simply they appreciate you because they want some favors from you, or always keep you in good humor. They come and please. Indecisive stallers are those people. They always come for conclusive remarks about whatever you are doing. They don't listen. They don't accept new things. If you say something, they will say, no, it is not working. It will not work, something like that. All these problems are to be sorted out. How? Believe me, 100% conflicts cannot be eliminated from our life, but it can be minimized. How to minimize? I will give you some tips. You can elaborate it later on. First one is, conflicts arises because of scarce resources, If it is in your hand, increase the resource. Am I reaching? If it is in your hand, increase the resource. Second reason, conflict arises because of the differentiated treatment. If you treat people differently, people will think you are unfair. Favorism, that leads to conflict. Reduce that differentiation. Treat everybody alike. For me, all students are the same. Whoever they are, from whichever family, parents they are the same for me. No problem. If I differentiate, discriminate, that leads to conflict. Too much of dependency leads to conflict. Wherever it is possible, reduce the dependency, make people to become independent. Can you follow me? Followed by that, communication is the big problem for conflicts. Improve the communication. Learn new methods of saying negative things, positive things precisely. Okay? Improve your communication. And most of the time, it is the goals that leads to conflicts. Set appropriate goals. It should not be unrealistic, unpractical. You cannot expect people to do beyond their capacity. Let the goals be reasonable. Smart goals, you will be knowing. Smart goals can make people to do happily. If there are confusions, that leads to conflict. Don't allow confusions to prevail. Clarify the doubts. Conflicts can be eliminated. Most of the time, when there is a conflict among people, there are 5 different ways to sort out the conflicts. What are they? You can put it in a matrix. 2 broader approaches. When there is a conflict, you can solve that conflict either by assertiveness or by cooperativeness. In the matrix, assertiveness and cooperativeness can be used in different combinations. Say, for instance, highest level of cooperation and the lowest level of assertiveness makes you to think in terms of avoidance. Precisely, I tell you, there are 5 different dimensions for solving conflicts in any situation. Either by avoid the conflict, better not to get into conflict with anybody, avoid it. Don't go for saying, I too, I am also there, me too, something like that. No, I'm not related to that. Avoiding. Avoiding is one approach to handle conflict. Accommodating. What the other person is asking, give it to him. Conflicts can be sorted out. Collaboration. What the other person is doing, join hands with him. Collaboration. Go against him. Competition. Make him to come down and you go there to reach him. That is compromise. Accommodation, collaboration, competition, avoidance, and compromise are the 5 different approaches through which conflict can be sorted out. But you should know when to accommodate, when to collaborate, when to compromise, things like that. Avoid if it is a trivial issue. When the conflict comes, If it is a trivial issue, avoid it. Okay, smile. A smile can solve many problems, A smile is the most powerful weapon that can help you to solve any type of problem. But you should know when to smile. Smile is a strategy. SMILE is a strategy. Each word you remember, smile's power you can understand. Yes, search. M, meet. I, investigate. L, lead. E, execute. Search before you smile. Don't smile everywhere at everybody, but the smile has the power to conquer what power cannot do. Therefore, avoiding, you should know when to avoid. Compromise, when to compromise. Accommodate and collaborate based on the situations. That will help you to sort out the problems. Therefore, conflicts will be everywhere. Conflicts cannot be avoided absolutely. 100% elimination of conflict is impossible in a civilized life. Civilization means quarreling. Civilization means liking, disliking will be there. But we must make our working environment and our living place comfortable by handling the conflicts, by minimizing the conflicts, not by avoiding. Absolute absence of conflict also is not a healthy situation. When there are people who accept everything that you are saying before you complete the sentence, it's a dead situation. There is no life in it. There must be somebody to oppose you. There must be somebody to question you. But that opposition must not be to the extent of something like hostility, disturbance. It should not be a sort of harassment. Too much of conflicts will lead to unproductivity, uncollaboration, hatredness, so that it must be avoided unless you make people around you to agree with you with whatever you are doing, you are saying. To some extent, with a pinch of salt, don't accept the situation as a healthy situation for working. Therefore, even in the classroom, there may be students who like you, who dislike you, who hate you at different degrees. Find out the reason, try to understand their problem and reach out to them. That will solve the problem. Therefore, I thought with this given time, whatever that I can mention, I have mentioned everything related to conflict and conflict resolution. If there are questions, please feel free and comfortable. Let there not be confusion that makes you to think negatively about me. Am I clear?
Sir, excuse me, sir.
Please.
Sir, in an management, if it is a conflict, it may leads to delay in decision making, sir.
Can you complete the last sentence?
Delay in decision making.
Yes. If there are too much of conflict, that delays the decision making because you think that nobody accepts it. You suspect. When you suspect somebody is going to question, you avoid making decisions. You don't speak. Many people don't speak because of the fear of opposition from others. Even some people may not raise question now because what others will think. If you are not comfortable with others, you will not speak out. You will not take any decisions or any action at all. 100% it leads to delay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sir. Yeah, thank you for nice talk. Sir, when the conflict happen, so usually two groups happen. So how we have to be managed between the two groups?
Okay, not necessarily all the time between two groups. Even in the same group, intra-group conflict may happen. In the same family also conflict can happen, right? But the suggestion is understand the reason for the conflict. Why there is a conflict? Why they are not agreeing with me? Okay, communication is the best solution. Talk to them once. Why do you don't like to me? Agree. Say for instance, when somebody is not interacting with you, that the reason may be numerous, but you come to the conclusion that he is egoistic, that he is my enemy. I see on the corridors, some of my students, when they see at me, they turn this face They turn their face other side. They run away from the corridor. Does it mean that they hate me? They are my enemies? No. Normally, when a student who comes in front of me turns his face or run away from me, I will go behind them and ask them why you did it. Or otherwise, I myself will invite them with folded hands, namaskar. They say, sir, we are afraid. Some of them say, sir, I cannot communicate. I cannot speak in the language that you speak. That could be the reason. Make them to feel comfortable. Why the other group is against you? There must be a reason, Find out the reason. The reason may be something good for you later.
Thank you, sir.
Okay,
Yes.
Sir,
please.
sir, we see some people who are very cool at home but very aggressive in the workplace. And some who are very cool at work are very, commanding at home. What do you say, sir?
It is the situation that they feel comfortable for them. Why they are aggressive in the working place and why they are cool in the family and vice versa. Even vice versa can happen. Right? The reason is for behavior, there are several reasons. It could be a natural, normal behavior or abnormal acting. Some people may be abnormally behaving just to show off that they are important. A person who had suffered a lot in front of others may try to project himself as something big. Okay, only those who are exploited by somebody, there are two possibilities. Those who got exploited by somebody may not exploit others because they think what happened to me should not happen to others. Opposite of that can also happen. Everyone has exploited me, let me do it here. Okay, people who are not happy at home, they may take the revenge in the office and vice versa. That's the reason people say, if you are happy at home, you can be happy anywhere. Try to be happy internally. Okay, if you are positive internally, not necessarily family, even in your mind, a happy mind can spread happiness. A positive mind can spread positivity. Likewise, reason for somebody to be aggressive there, he may think, if I am sober, others will take advantage. Let me not allow others to take advantage. Let me project as aggressive. But when they go back, it is not their true self. Yesterday I was talking about ideal self, actual self, and the projected self. Ideal self is how they want to show off themselves. Actual self is what they are. And projected self is how the society looks at them. Somebody who is very quiet and calm may shout at everybody, thinking that if I shout, I will get respect. That could be the reason. I think I am.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir.
Please.
Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, audible. It is actually
sir, many a time. Yeah, sir. Many a time conflict happens because of short-tempered nature. We may be right, but the way of expression, sometimes we may not be able to control the anger. So what is your suggestion for such people? So that they can avoid the conflict?
Yes, better you avoid, because you know that he's a short-tempered person. Meet him tomorrow, not today. Because it is the situation that makes that person to shout like that. If you are already aware of such a personality, better not to make it aggressive. Avoid it. Or otherwise, you can take some time and ask him, is it the right time to talk to you? Okay. Nobody is cruel by nature, Man is the most kindest animal of the creation, if you think positively. There is a saying, behind the bloody hands, there is a kind heart. Even the cruel murderer may be good at heart, but we should know when to talk to him. It could be the time. If you avoid the time, later on, things will become normal to speak to him. So that you should control your emotions now.
Yes.
If you adamant and say, I want the answer now, he will also become the same. That leads to conflict. Skip the time.
Okay.
Thank you. Any more questions? Yes. Did you got something out of this 3-4 interactions of mine? You can make comments about it. Any confusions, anything? You can comment.
Hello, sir.
Please, madam. Lata, madam.
Sir, we are talking about the conflict. Sometimes I feel that there should be a conflict. Otherwise, one cannot improve themselves. Like, for example, if there is a critics, like one can improve themselves, right? So what your comment on this, sir?
Even I said, if there is no conflict, it is not a healthy situation, I said. There must be somebody to comment on us. There must be somebody who is watching us. If you think there are people looking at us, you will become careful, you will be alert, and that leads to healthy competition also, because you want to improve yourself. In management, there is a principle. If there is no conflict, create one. You have to create conflict between the people. If there is no challenge, life will become dull and boring, you know. You must create a challenging environment. How to do that? That's the reason parents compare two daughters and sisters. Other one is doing that, you are not doing this. Even students will do that. Or when we appreciate somebody, that can inspire the other person to do it, what they have not done. But it must be done properly. It must be done in a scientific way. Therefore, conflicts cannot be looked as a negative situation. There is a saying for all, I think you might have saw it in one of the movies. He says, a politician says, I must be grateful to two people who harassed me so far. One is the press, other one is the police. It is because of them I have become great. Take it as a joke. But most of the time, we must be thankful to our enemies. Right?
Yes, sir. But in child psychology, they'll say that you should not compare your child with the other child. That is also there, no, sir?
That's what I said. Be careful, I said. When comparing, you must be careful. Compare the comparables. And more than anything, every individual is unique, you know. Needless to compare with somebody. When you compare with somebody, instead of picking up performance, the child may start hating the other child. It is because of you, my mother insulted me. They become enemies now. Better not to compare. Life is, for everybody, it is special and unique. But we must have that emotional ability and stability to control that moment. Accept the reality. Life is what it is. But we want to make it in the way that we like. There comes all this disturbance, conflict, comparison, hatredness, right? But opposition is inevitable. That's the reason, you know, even in our constitution, they made provision for an opposition party in the parliament or the assembly. Even in life, there must be critics. But criticism should not be just for criticism, you know. Healthy criticism is good. Otherwise, criticism will not get meaning at all. There is a definition for criticism. What is criticism? Criticism is something that anybody can do, being nothing, knowing nothing, and doing nothing. That should not be the criticism. Criticism should act as an inspiration for further improvement. When you correct the answer of a student, that must not be act as an insult, humiliation. It must be an inspiration, motivation for some more work. I think I've reached you.
Sorry, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, any more comments? You are welcome.
No, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you. If possible, somewhere we can meet once again. If both of us can recognize the face that we are seeing on the screen, let us say hello wherever it is possible. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Opportunity.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir.
Hello, please.
Yeah, I take this opportunity to propose vote of thanks for you, sir. So it's like we had a very good sessions with you. All the sessions, all the 4 sessions, personality development, team building, and emotional intelligence, and today's sessions. So we had a very thought-provoking talks with you. Like, it was very wonderful, sir. So on behalf of HRDC Mysore chapter and on behalf of all my co-participants, I'll thank you very much for the session. Thank you.
all. Thank you. Good luck to you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
ಹಲೋ ಆತ್ಮಾನಂದ ಸರ್ ಮಾತಾಡಿ ಸರ್. ಹಲೋ 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 ಸರ್ ಆತ್ಮಾನಂದ್. ಹಲೋ
Sir. Sir, tell me, sir. Santosh Kumar, sir. Hey, sir. Hello. Sir, here.
ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಮುಗಿದಿರೋ ಡಿಸ್ಕಷನ್ ನಡೀತಾ ಇದೆ.
Hello.
ಹಲೋ
ಅದೇ ಸರ್
ಸಂತೋಷ್ ಕುಮಾರ್ ಸರ್.
ಹೌದು ಸರ್, ಏನಿಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ಮಷ್ಟೇ ಇಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದು ಸರ್. ಬಂದೇ
ತೊಂದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲ.
ಏನಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿ ಸರ್.
ಏನಿಲ್ಲ. ಓಕೆ, ಇವರಲ್ಲಿ ವೆರಿ ಇವರು ಇಳಮಾರನ್ ಯಾರು ಇದು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಲ್ಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇಳಮಾರನ್. ಓಕೆ, ಎಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಾ ಸೆಷನ್?
ಸರಿ ಸರ್, ಸರಿ. ಊಟಕ್ಕೆ ಓಡಿದ್ರ ಅಂತ.
ಊಟ ಇಲ್ಲಿ 9 ಜನ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇನೆ ಲಿಂಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ.
ಹೌದು ಸರ್.
ಎಂಡ್ ಮಾಡೋದು.
ಸರಿ ಓಕೆ.